After the death of George Floyd in the custody of the Minneapolis police, the Black Lives Matter movement and the main organization have exploded into greater national prominence and gained a very wide following.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
The movement consists of many organizations, including the original Black Lives Matter group. On its website, it lists many goals, the majority of which most people would support, like we work vigorously for freedom and justice for black people, and by extension, all people. But despite such mainstream ideas, leaders of Black Lives Matter come from a far-left point of view.
Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories.
The group takes positions many Americans would find very controversial, like its view of the traditional family, saying we disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages. Positions like those are why many black Americans, including Christians who support racial justice, oppose the organization's goals. Black Christian pro-life speaker and author Ryan Baumberger has written top 10 reasons I'll never support the Black Lives Matter movement.
They're radically pro-abortion. I mean, this is a movement that announced solidarity with the abortion industry. Back in 2015, there's actually a solidarity statement standing behind the abortion industry, standing with Planned Parenthood. So how can you say the Black Lives Matter on one hand and then partner with the leading killer of black lives?
Former Republican Congressman Lieutenant Colonel Allen West disagrees with the idea that police are committing mass attacks on black Americans, and it's a distraction from the issue of black abortion.
Black Lives Matter in the media wants us to believe it's a genocide out there. The real genocide is the 20 million unborn black babies have been murdered in the womb since 1973.
In addition to its support for non-traditional families, the group also strongly believes in gay rights, saying, we foster a queer-affirming network.
The Black Lives Matter movement heavily promotes homosexuality and transgenderism. They want to do away with heteronormative thinking. Well, we see what happens when we do away with God's framework of family, of a married mother and a father, and it leaves behind vulnerable communities which suffer so many negative outcomes.
West believes the organization is simply another far-left group, speaking to it directly in a recent video.
Because you don't stand for anything except the same old white progressive socialist ideological agenda that we will have nothing to do with.
And Baumberger points to another key problem from a biblical perspective.
They have no forgiveness, no reconciliation. There's no call for that. So as a Christian, when our salvation is predicated on reconciliation, being reconciled to God, how can we not be reconciled to one another?
With the number of high-profile deaths of black Americans while dealing with police in recent years, and especially after the killing of George Floyd, it's easy to see why so many Americans are embracing the idea that Black Lives Matter. But if they take a closer look at the positions of the Black Lives Matter organization itself, they might rethink their support for that group. Gary Lane, CBN News.